Hello, everybody. My name is Dexter Kendrick, and I'd like to welcome you all back to My Heavenly Body TV, the place for relevant astrological conversations and psychic phenomena. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the Dexter Kendrick Soul channel for more forecasts and updates. All right, so this conversation today is going to be on the upcoming solar eclipse in Virgo on September 13th. And I guess the first thing we have to discuss with regard to this phenomena is what is a solar eclipse? And what does it involve? And what does it mean for me? Everybody wants to know what it means for them. So let's talk about solar eclipses really quickly. Solar eclipses involve two planets in our solar system. They involve the sun and they involve the moon. And what happens during a solar eclipse is that the moon comes, which gravitates around the Earth, comes in between the Earth and the sun, temporarily blocking out the sun's light for a period of time. Now, astrology is largely interpretive, so what does that really mean, astrologically speaking, and certainly what does it mean for me and you? Well, in the first conversation we had on Venus and Leo, we discussed what the sun's relevance is in the birth chart. We discussed that the sun is the driving focal point and force in the birth chart. Of course, the planets, all the planets are the driving forces behind the birth chart in different ways psychologically, but the sun is the main focal point of any birth chart, of any conversation you will have regarding yourself, astrologically speaking. Whenever you speak to somebody regarding astrology or a professional like myself, we're always going to be looking at what is going on in your birth chart in relationship to the sun. And so here we have the moon having a distinct and special relationship with the sun on September 13th coming up. And so what does the moon mean then? The moon essentially represents our emotional nature, our feeling nature, our subconscious. We know that there are times in the sky where we see the moon, and there are times where we see the moon not so much, and there are times when we don't see the moon at all. And so at a new moon, such as the new moon solar eclipse that's coming up on September 13th, we will not be able to see the moon at all. In fact, what we'll be seeing is the sun, and in fact, for a period of time, we won't see the sun at all. So the moon's going to be doing the incognito, and she's going to be taking the sun with her for a minute of time. Well, what does that mean to us, essentially? What that means is that we all have an inner dialogue. We all have certain goals and plans and daily things that go on within us all the time regarding our relationships, our business and personal lives. The trash needs to be taken out, the kids need to be picked up, what I'm doing with my career next year, etc. And what happens during a solar eclipse when the moon obliterates the sun? The moon represents those inner dialogues that we're having with ourselves, our inner feelings. But for the most part, they're on autopilot. So we don't always pay attention when we're talking to ourselves and saying that this is kind of how I'm feeling. I'm not feeling so comfortable at my job. I kind of been wanting to enter into a new arena. I've kind of been thinking about, dumping my most recent loved one. Not loved one, but my most recent dating relationship, etc., and haven't gotten around to it. We don't really pay attention to those things because essentially we want order. And so the sun represents order. It represents how we order our lives. It represents what we allow into our consciousness. And it represents how we go about taking care of our daily duties. But during this solar eclipses represent people and circumstances who come into our realm of awareness in a way that wakes us up to the inner dialogue we've been having with ourselves and perhaps not paying so much attention to. And so all of a sudden, whatever the solar eclipse brings up in our lives, each one of us will be touched in different areas of our lives on the 13th. And that will span for about 3 to 6 months where we'll be taking care of business in that arena because that becomes the new order. So what ends up happening is the moon gives birth. The moon gives birth to some information that has been largely beneath the surface in our inner dialogue, and she says to the sun, this is your new assignment. And that's why the sun and the moon kind of take a little bit of a hiatus, because when they return, after an hour or so of consulting with one another in the sky, you'll be able to see that over the next 3 to 6 months, and sometimes people can feel the energy of a solar eclipse up to a month before it happens. So I'm going to release this video a few days before the eclipse, but some things probably have already begun manifesting in your life that have shifted some things. Now remember, the signs represent how these things are expressed. So while I'm not reading for you individually, we can certainly take a look at Virgo and see what's going on with Virgo to tell us how this is going to be expressed in each of our lives individually. But we can at least talk about the what. Signs represent how things are expressed. Planets represent what is being expressed. And so we know there's a new order coming for each of us in some area of our lives. And Virgo will tell us how. So let's talk about Virgo. Virgo is the 6th sign in the zodiac, and it represents, on the evolutionary conversation of the spirit's development, it represents the space where we come into adulthood, where we begin to recognize responsibility. We recognize responsibilities. What makes us responsible? What is our business? What do we have to take care of? Virgo is also considered to be an earth sign, and it's also considered to be a highly versatile sign, or what we would call mutable. So they are very easily able to fluctuate in and out of roles to take care of demands that are necessary and practical. Because it's the earth sign, it's always about practicality and what will work. And so what's interesting about Virgo is also associated with not only health and wellness, because it's an earth sign, it's associated with our bodies and how they function on a regular basis. Those automatic processes that happen, like digestion, excretion, waking and sleeping, etc., and our minds functioning throughout the day about things that have to be taken care of. But it also is associated with our relationships with coworkers, how we are as employees, how we are if we employ other people to work for us. And so those are the areas that this solar eclipse is going to be touching. That's how it's going to be expressing itself. Essentially, while Virgo represents how things work, Virgos really shine when things stop working. Virgos really shine when they have to pull upon their resources to put together a new program because the old one is breaking down. Now, that is probably what is going to be the highlight of this solar eclipse, not because breakdowns are unwelcome. In fact, in the evolutionary process of life, breakdowns are most welcome because you get to have an opportunity to see what hasn't been working anyway. It's not that things stop working. It's that all of a sudden you have a chance to see what's not been working and to take care of business in that arena. And so I want you to feel empowered as I'm having this conversation because some of you may be very new in this conversation, and I don't want you to enter into it with any kind of apprehension. And I never have conversations of gloom and doom. It just doesn't exist. We all word our experiences, and any experience can be used for the better. And I also assert that life is trying to help you get what you want anyway. Nonetheless, Virgo has a significantly powerful energy happening in her right now. In her, I say her because she's depicted as a virgin, or, very pure. But it's a conversation of cleansing, really. So some people will have noticed that there is a demand to take care of certain daily issues with their bodies. Certain people will have to change lifestyle habits like diet or add exercise. Certain people may have certain physiological functioning that has to be taken care of. I recently spoke with my tattoo artist who told me that he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, but after reducing his starch intake, not only is he going to be able to come off his high blood pressure medication, but he'll also be able to cure himself of his type 2 diabetes and relinquish himself of the need to take medicine that gives him insulin. And so there's a conversation here of the healing crisis, and that is a positive conversation because it's only when things stop working that they become the order of the day in some of our lives. And in certain areas of our lives, that's extremely appropriate because we are empowered then, once we come back from the healing crisis, to help others, to be of service to others, even if only through our testimony. And so I think what you're going to find over the next 3 to 6 months is that in whatever area of the chart that Virgo lies in, you're going to be going through some kind of a shift, some kind of a reprioritizing in a number of ways. Some people will find that at work their schedules are shifting. Their job responsibilities may be shifting. They may be getting a promotion. That can cause a significant crisis. Even though it might be financially feasible, the demand is also extremely high. Some people might be finding that their relationships with coworkers have to shift. Perhaps it's more feasible to be communicative in one way with coworkers than it is in another way. Some people will be opening up a little bit more. So usually, because Jupiter at this time, planet of gifts and luck, also we would consider him to be Zeus in Greek mythology, because he represents expansion, what you'll find is that the areas that you might have been a little tight on, or not willing to, the changes you've not been willing to make because they would recommend some kind of extra commitment on your time and energy, those are going to be expanding a little bit more. So if you've been a little tight-lipped at work and not hanging out with coworkers, you're going to be finding that it's a little easier to engage with coworkers a little bit more and showcase a little bit more of your personality. You're going to be finding that if your body is showing you symptoms, Virgo rules the stomach, the actual stomach, and the intestines. And so if you're finding that you're having digestive issues, you're going to be having to look at some qualities regarding your dietary intake, and also how you're relating to other individuals, because that's the area where stress is going to show up with regard to digestion. So if you're showing up with constipation, you might want to take a look at how some things perhaps are not moving, or perhaps how some things might be blocked in your life. And if you're having diarrhea, you might want to take a look at what it is that you're taking into yourself, what experiences and people you're allowing around yourself to take in that is not necessarily nutritious for your body, and that has to be let go of. Because that will be the essence of this transit over the next 3 to 6 months. I will say that you are very much empowered by the positive optimism. Certainly Virgo is being blessed by Jupiter over the next year. They're going to be able to write their own ticket in any direction that they want, really, especially with regard to work, promotion, travel, returning back to school, higher education, because Jupiter represents the study of profound subjects in depth, and also long-distance travel of mind and body. And so this is a totally relevant conversation, not only for Virgo, but for all of us. I encourage you to go and take a look at what area or house in your chart Virgo lies in, so you can get a little bit more conversation about what area is going to be requiring some overhaul over the next 3 to 6 months. You can go to alabe.com, ALABE.com, type in your birth information. It'll pull it up and tell you a little bit about the house that Virgo lies in. Certainly you can connect with me on either Instagram at Dexter Kendrick Soul, or on Facebook under Dexter L. Bowman Kendrick. Nonetheless, I'm always happy to speak with anybody who has any questions. Furthermore, I'd like to say, because Jupiter is having a direct relationship with Neptune, who is the patron ruler of Pisces, that there is a conversation here about what is real. Because the Neptune represents dreams, our imagination, our ideals, the things that we'd like to be real. But it also represents the things that we'd like to be real that actually are not real. And so you're going to have a conversation with what is realistic and what is feasible for you over the next 3 to 6 months. And I assert that what Neptune represents is something that is not in alignment with the ego. And so most of us are in this alignment, of course, in our society these days, regarding a conversation of going about getting what we want in life, which is great. But Neptune is a little bit more interested in taking care of our spiritual and mental well-being than our wallets and our ego's pockets. And so what is going to be happening here is, if there's anything that you have been chasing in order to feed your ego, but you actually do not need it, you will probably find that it begins to dissolve and crumble. And what that is doing is it's helping you to recognize what is real, what is really necessary in your life for your well-being. And if something leaves your life, as is going to be common for most of us, for some of us it'll be fat loss. For some of us it'll be the loss of a relationship. For others of us it might be the loss of something else. But whatever is leaving your life is an opportunity to help you to strengthen, to reprioritize, and to move forward with gusto, because this test essentially will become your testimony. Once again, my name is Dexter Kendrick. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to any people who it would benefit. And don't forget, on the Dexter Kendrick Soul channel here on YouTube, and I'll be coming forward with more information. That's an opportunity for you to stay in the loop regarding upcoming forecasts and conversations on psychic phenomena. Once again, it's my pleasure to serve you. Be blessed, and I'll speak with you soon.